Every so often, a piece of writing comes along that it just connects. It cuts right through all the noise and speaks to something really deep inside of us. So in this explainer, we're going to deconstruct this really powerful message about the winter solstice by Tom Pizio. We're going to try to understand the architecture of hope and figure out why this message in particular lands with so much warmth and depth. Okay, let's start by looking at how it opens. So the message opens with these really simple, powerful sentences. See, there's no grand flourish here. It's just a quiet statement of fact. And that choice is so smart. It immediately grounds us in this very specific moment, the longest night of the year. It just sets this contemplative, almost meditative tone right from the start. And I mean, this is the crucial question, isn't it? Celebrating the return of light is one thing when you're feeling light yourself. But what about when you're not? What about when you're in the dark? Pizio's writing tackles this head-on, and honestly, that's what makes it so resonant. It meets you exactly where you are. So how does this message actually achieve its power? Well, the first key is all about how it uses the solstice itself. It's not just some date on the calendar, right? It becomes the central metaphor for the entire philosophy. And this framing it's brilliant. The message isn't about some sudden dramatic change. No, it's about a quiet pause, this moment of stillness just before a slow return. And that mirrors a much more realistic human experience of healing or change, doesn't it? It's gradual, it's not instantaneous. It's like nature's telling us that something is shifting, even if we can't quite see it yet. Okay, and this brings us to one of the most powerful techniques in the entire piece, the reframing of personal struggle. I mean, this is where the message just gives you this profound sense of emotional permission. Now, this right here really crystallizes the core insights. So often when we're struggling, our internal monologue sounds exactly like that first column, something is wrong with me. But Pizio's message gently shifts us over to the other side. It says, you aren't broken, you're just in winter. You're in a necessary, natural part of a larger cycle. And that simple shift in perspective, wow, it is just incredibly liberating. This quote really gets to the heart of that whole idea. By framing darkness as a passage and not a destination, it totally changes the game. It introduces movement. It introduces purpose. I mean, a destination is static, right? It's a place you arrive and maybe get stuck. But a passage, well, that's a journey you move through. It implies there is another side. This brings us to the next absolutely crucial element, how the writing handles the whole concept of hope. And it does so with this incredible restraint and care, which frankly is exactly why it feels so trustworthy. And this is just so important because the message doesn't rush you to the silver lining. It doesn't do that. It first sits with the reality of the struggle. It validates that feeling of heaviness, of grief, of just being worn down. And only after earning that trust by acknowledging the dark does it gently, so gently, introduce the light. It's that honesty that makes the hope feel earned, not cheap. And that's really the key, isn't it? The strength here is in what's not said. There are no platitudes, no demands to just think positive. The authenticity comes from its commitment to reality, acknowledging that, yeah, winter is real, it is cold, and it requires rest, not resistance. Now, what's really cool is that the message doesn't just speak to those in the dark. It makes this really gentle pivot to speak to those of us who have come through our own winters. And this is where the concept of swan time comes in. And it's just this beautiful shift from, personal survival to gentle stewardship. So what is swan time? Well, it's this idea that once you've navigated your own transformation, your experience actually becomes a source of light. But it's not about showing off your success or anything like that. It's about simply being visible for others who are still trying to find their way. And this quote, it captures the philosophy perfectly. I want you to notice the choice of the word responsibility. It's not framed as some heavy burden. Instead, it's presented as a natural part of being in the light. The idea is that your journey wasn't just for you. It can now serve a quiet but vital purpose for someone else. This really breaks it down beautifully. Look, it's not about giving advice or trying to fix anyone. Not at all. It's about being a steady presence. Shining your light simply means being authentically you. And when you do that, you become this quiet point of reference for someone else in the dark. It's a very gentle, but also a very powerful call to action. Okay, so as we start to pull all these different pieces together, you can see a clear, unifying philosophy starting to emerge. It's a philosophy of acceptance, of patience, and of purpose that is tied directly to the rhythms of nature itself.
This is pretty much the quiet thesis of the entire piece. It's not about fighting the season you're in, but about being appropriate to it, right? There's a time for rest and there's a time for shining. And this is crucial, both are valuable. One state isn't better than the other, they are just different parts of the very same journey. And really, that's the final takeaway. The incredible effectiveness of this communication strategy is its simplicity. It takes a universal, totally ordinary moment, the longest night of the year, and it transforms it into this profound and gentle metaphor for our own lives, for where we are and where we're going. Ultimately, it all just comes down to this final line. It isn't a command, it's an affirmation. It's a quiet encouragement to be true to whatever season you're in, to trust the journey, and to know that whether you are in the deepest dark or the brightest light, you are exactly where you need to be.